Welcome to TIP Annual Conference, and it is day 5. All right. I have the moderator right in the room. I'm going to bring her up on the screen to go ahead and do this. Hi, Marybeth.
Good evening, boss. Good evening, Wendy. How are you doing today?
All right. So I'm going to go off the screen. You are live. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to day 5 of amazing parenting Rema. Let's call it that. It's been back-to-back knowledge. All right. So today we're back again, and this is what session is this? The first session for the day. So we will start by taking review from the inner circle, that place where the real deal happens. So let's start by taking a review from another parent in the inner circle. Welcome, everyone. Get ready. It's about to go down. All right, so it's about to go down. Get your pen, get your paper, get everything that you need ready, because just as we have been having in the last 4 days, today is going to be another amazing session. So we're going to have, as I said, a review from the inner circle. All right, so welcome. I can't wait. Today is about parenting plans. So you can imagine, I am big on parenting plans, and I'm sure a lot of us are too. So let's get ready. Don't let anything pass you. If you know anyone that needs to be here right now, please get them in. Send them the link, send them an invite, and let them come in here. There is too much going on here for you to leave anything on the table. And don't even wait to catch the replay. As much as possible, do this. Because if you leave, you will have too many videos, and then it becomes overwhelming. So the trick is, catch them that same day, or be present even better. All right, so while we wait for the technical people to bring up the review, I would want you to get everything that you need, and possibly a glass of water, because you will need this. We're looking at parenting with the end in mind. We're looking at parenting with a plan. Like many other things, if you do not have a plan to help you with your parenting, you might as well say that you are preparing yourself for failure. So like many or every other thing, a plan will position you to to make the task even easier. All right. So welcome.
Hello, my name is Susu Itwen. I am a mom of 2 children, 2 amazing toddlers. I'm also a gender and development professional trained in the UK. I actually live in the UK, and I'm an entrepreneur. So I'm here to share my experience with you so far in the inner circle. I joined the inner circle March 2021 after so many reviews and testimonies on the tip page on Facebook. So I thought to myself, I've been following this page for a while now. I've attended the conferences they've done. I've learned so much. I've followed up the Tuesday podcast, live videos. And I thought there has to be something else. There has to be a better way of accountability and walking through this journey. So I joined in March. And since then, it's been mind-blowing. Like, it's been hectic, but it's been mind-blowing. Okay, the thing that I want to highlight today is the atmosphere in the inner circle. That has been the top for me. The atmosphere is just something else, where you come into the room, there is a good vibes, positive vibes. There is something to learn all the time. People are sharing their experiences, and you just really, and you look like yourself. I'm not alone. Okay, so it's so much fun. We are learning a lot. We are reading books and learning from the experiences of others who have walked through this journey. Atmosphere is key for you in your parenting journey. Why? Because the society has a lot of information that you don't even need for your journey. There's a lot of myths and error information, put it that way, that is out there. So you need to position yourself in the right atmosphere, in the right direction of what you want to achieve. Okay, so that is why I prefer inner circle to anything else happening around my parenting journey, because I get to see other people, learn from them, and draw strength. You can't do this alone. It can be very tough. I've had frustrating moments parenting, but I realize that I need people, and Coach Wendy has amazingly done that in the inner circle. So I give it up to all the yadas. You are doing amazingly well. Now, if you're interested, or perhaps you're wondering, I don't have time. For me, I really wanted a lot of time. Like, I don't have time to do this. But I realize that we make out time for what is important to us. And the gift of children are the greatest gifts anyone can think of to nurture. So I urge you to create time and join us. And perhaps you think, okay, you have had it all. You've had all the experience, 20 years experience. There's nothing to correct. Oh my God. You can still be a grandma. You can still be a grandpa. You can still nurture children around you in the society as a teacher. So I urge you to join us. It's fun. We are learning. We are being refueled daily, because this journey can be very tough. Okay, I'll stop here. Thank you so much, Mom, for the opportunity and for all you do for us. Have a good day and see you in the inner circle.
Thank you very much, ma'am. That was such an insightful review. I mean, she touched on so many things that are so deep and so true. The inner circle is that place where it doesn't matter how much of a parent's coach you are. It doesn't matter how much of an educator or expert you are. When you come in there, as she said, the atmosphere is real, because you have true life experiences, and you must pick something from someone's story or someone's experience. So please, you can't parent alone. Coming from a parents coach, I tell you, I promise you, you can't parent alone. All right, so the inner circle is where you want to be in 2022. Great. So we are going to take the profile of our guest speaker for today while we get ready to meet the amazing Christine Ocho. So we'll wait for the profile of our next guests. If you're still thinking, this is the time to make your mind.
Kristen Bothell and her husband live in Westminster, Colorado, close to their 4 adult children. After receiving a master's degree in elementary education, Kristen taught in K-3 classrooms for over 10 years and was a recipient of 2 District Values Awards. Throughout her parenting career of staying home with her kids, years of volunteering, classroom teaching, and doing home daycare, she experienced and observed a lot of parental angst over parenting perfection. This led Christine and her husband to create their own plan as they were approaching their kids' teenage years. Their plan wasn't pretty, but it was the beginning of their most powerful parenting tool, their parenting roadmap. Christine's passion is to inspire parents to find their own unique ways of parenting by taking advice and tips that resonate with their style, noting them, and parenting by them. She has written and illustrated a 3-time award-winning book and received the 2021 National Parent Product Award for a book, Noteworthy Parenting: How to Use Your Own Ideas to Create Your Parenting Roadmap, and the companion journal, Noteworthy Parenting Roadmap. Christine enjoys hiking Colorado trails, drinking California wines, traveling with family, and taking our grandson to the Denver Zoo. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome to the 2021 Intentional Parents Conference, Christine Bothell.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. It's good to have you here. Good day.
Good day, and thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
We're all excited to have you, and I am particularly excited. I'm excited when I meet educators because I'm one, and I feel as an educator, you have an education of parents, you have the best of both worlds. So you have your kids, and then you have the kids in the classroom. So you can tell behavior, you can tell academics, you can tell practically every aspect of the child's life. You are so welcome, Mom. We're happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So I'm just going to go backstage and allow you take the stage. You're welcome
Okay.
again.
Thank you. I just want to take a second and thank Wendy so much for inviting me. I'm honored to be a speaker at the TIP 2021 event. I love the topic of parenting today for a tomorrow, for tomorrow, which is speaks to why parenting plans are so useful on your parenting journey. So thank you to all the people working hard behind the scenes to make this amazing conference such a great resource for parents. I love the parenting circle idea and all the testimonies. I am a firm believer that instead of competing with our parents, we have a saying here, you don't want to keep up with the Joneses. And that means if the Joneses get a new car, you get a new car, they get a new house, you get a new house. Well, as parents, we don't want to keep up with other parents. We don't want to compete with other parents. We want to team up with other parents. We want to work together and share ideas and share wisdom. Several years ago, I've been parenting for 29 years. So several years ago, as I was approaching the teenage years with our kids, it was very difficult to parent. My parents didn't have to parent to technology. They didn't have all of the social changes that we go through on a regular basis constantly. And so I felt that I was alone. My husband and I had to sit down and really sort out how we wanted to move forward with our parenting. And having a conference like this would have been amazing. It would have been so helpful for us to have this information from experts day after day. This is truly a gift. And I've been listening to these other speakers. And as an old lady parent, I have gained inspiration and ideas even today, even though I've been a parent for that long and had 4 kids and was a teacher. There's still great information I am learning today. So, such a valuable tool. So thankful and honored to be a part of this. And am looking forward to helping you with some tips and tools on creating a parenting plan. So I like to start with a saying that I have, and it is parenting is not about perfection. It's about the power in your plan. Think it, note it, parent it. So parenting is not about perfection. It's about the power in your plan. Think it, note it, parent it. And what I mean by that is, there's no, we shouldn't be competing to be the perfect parent and have the perfect kids. Um, that just doesn't exist. And I think there's a lot of pressure on parents to uh, be the perfect parent. But when you think about it, parents come together from different families. No two parents are exactly alike. And after having 4 kids and teaching in a classroom, no 2 kids are exactly alike. And therefore, no 2 parenting plans should be exactly alike either. What works for you may not work for somebody else, but with everybody sharing ideas and thoughts, you can pick and choose what's going to work for your parenting style, what's going to work for your family and your kids as you go along this parenting journey. So, my topic today is officially how to create a parenting plan that works. So let's focus on that word work for just a minute. Parenting is hard. I don't need to tell anyone here that, especially these days. I think this generation is one of the hardest times to raise kids. Uh, Things are changing so fast in society. Um, as our inner circle testimonial young lady just explained to us, and she was spot on by saying there's good information and there's not good information out there. There is technology that's ever changing. There's constantly things that you are having to learn as a parent that other generations didn't have to stay on top of. Parenting is work. So how do we make a parenting plan work? Well, let's start with a mindset. Um, whether you have a parenting plan or you don't, parenting is going to be work. If you don't have a parenting plan, you are constantly working every day to stay on top of whatever information is coming your way, whatever questions your kids are asking, whatever disagreements the kids are having. The fact that you and your spouse may not be on the same page. An example of that would be your teenager wants to go out and they want to know what time they need to be home. And one parent says, you need to be home by 9, and the other parent says, you need to be home by 11. Well, that means the child gets to choose. Well, they're probably going to pick the 11, and that might cause disagreement between the parents. So, having no plan is difficult on many aspects. In many aspects, that family is not on the same page. The kids are not clear on the routines and rules. Family goals are not met. Coming from 2 different families, you may have celebrated traditions and customs in your families differently. How have you brought those together to make it special for the way your family celebrates traditions and customs? So, parenting without a plan is going to be work every day. It's going to be stressful. It's going to be emotionally charged. You're going to be making decisions on the fly, and a lot of time regretting those decisions. Maybe you over discipline your child because you were emotionally overcharged in a situation where maybe the kids were fighting, and your punishment may be too harsh. So, there's a lot to be said for not having a plan. It's still work. Now, having a plan does require work, and it does require consistency on our part. But there are some tips that I'm going to give you today on making creating a plan a little bit easier so that you can have those plans in place, those talks prepared for your kids, be on the same page as parents so that your kids know when they go ask one parent what time they have to be home and they ask the other parent, it's going to be the same time, maybe 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is what the parents have agreed. It gives a good foundation for your parenting. It helps the family understand and know the rules. It gives you confidence as a parent. So it takes a lot of those emotions out of parenting. If your kids are fighting and you have a parenting plan, you've listed what your strategy is going to be for helping them work through their fight instead of punishing them right away. So you will have a plan, a flow chart of how you want to sit down and talk to your kids or how you want to manage that conflict. And that is so much easier to say, oh, well, let's sit down and talk about this, or this is the plan. If you can't agree, then we need to have time separated and then we'll come back and talk about it. You have strategies that you can go to, and not just strategies for you, but strategies that both parents are using. So you have, again, that great foundation, that great consistency. It brings the family together to be on the same page. So we are going to think about what we want to put in our parenting plan, because I did say think it, note it, parent it. You think about what you want to do. You work together on your strategies. You write them down. Uh, Parenting is a busy business, and you're also living life. So you forget things. It's good to have your parenting ideas, inspiration, and plans written down so all the parents can check in on the plan. And some families even use their parenting plan as a family plan so that kids can check the plan too. So today, I thought we would add a little fun to this presentation. I have a couple of drawings that I did just to walk us through this. Let me raise that a little bit. I think as parents, it's so hard to parent. We get overwhelmed and we get stressed out. And I think sometimes we need to have a little fun. So I thought we'll add some drawings to hopefully they'll be humorous for you, but also help you remember the different parts of putting together a parenting plan and thinking about how you want to make your parenting plan work for you. And also, this is a good exercise to remember when you're talking with your kids. Have fun with it. The tough talks are going to be a little bit more serious, but sometimes you can, incorporate a little bit of fun into the way you parent your kids, and that helps build your relationship, your authority. The kids love relating to you as a parent in fun times, so that when it is a difficult time or they're in trouble, they know that they don't want to break that bond with you. So it helps strengthen those bonds. So let's get to it. Um, Here I have a picture of 3 parents. And the first thing I want you to think about when you create a plan is where you want to keep your parenting notes. Now, this is extremely important because you want to make sure both parents have access to the plan, and you want to make sure, or all parents, whatever your family structure looks like, all parents have access to the plan, because they should be able to go back and reference or look up what they need out of the plan if they forget something, but also they should be able to add to the plan. So if you get a great idea, you want to be able to have your plan handy so you can stick that great idea into your plan so you don't forget it. It might be a great idea you don't need to use for a couple of years down the road, but it is something that you want to make sure you get into your plan. So having it handy is going to be very important, and having it accessible to all parents is going to be very important. So let's take a look. The first person here, they have their smartphone. So some people find that it's much easier for them to keep their parenting notes on their smartphone. There are tons of great note-taking apps. You may even have a note-taking app maybe you use for your job. So use what you know. There's no need to go out and relearn a new notes app. There's no need to reinvent the wheel on how you want to structure your parenting plan. Find a notes app that works for you, and go ahead and use your phone. The great thing about this is other parents can access that notes app. You can share your notes, and it's handy. Most of us have our phones with us all the time. So it's great to add notes to, and it's great to refer to. So that works for some people. This person has a good old-fashioned pen and paper, a notebook. And when my husband and I started our parenting plan, we were in the car driving on a road trip, and we started talking about things we were worried about as our kids approached the teenage years. And I reached in the back seat and grabbed a notebook and started just writing down and jotting all of the things that we were agreeing upon and the plans that we were creating. So some people like to write in notebooks or journal or sketch note or draw. This is a great tool if you want to make it a family plan. You can keep it in your kitchen, and kids can grab it off the kitchen counter if they want to check on something. It's one of those things that is a personal preference. So if you prefer to take notes in a notebook and have your notes written there, then by all means, grab a notebook and set it up just as your parenting plan. And then lastly is maybe a laptop or your home computer. Maybe you do a lot of work on your computer, and oftentimes if you have an app on your phone, it will also connect to your laptop or your computer. My husband put all of our notes from the notebook, he added them to a file on our computer. And so that's been very helpful because we got a little bit more organization going on with our notes, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But understand that not everybody's going to want to use the same tool. So your friends may decide to use the notebook. You may decide to use the phone. There's no one right or wrong way. The most important part is that it is useful for you. So whatever is going to be easy for you, whatever is going to be useful for you, that's the best one to choose. So we will move on from where you want to keep your notes to organizing your notes. So I mentioned earlier when we grabbed the notebook from the back seat and I just started writing the plans that we were talking about. It was a disaster. So the problem is that we got home and we had this great notebook full of notes, but when the time came to use them, I was having to go through every page to see where I had taken notes on specific topics. So my husband decided to put it into a computer file. You still can use a notebook. I'm going to show you how to organize your notes, whether you use a notebook or whether you use an online app or however you want to file your notes and create your notebook online. But the important part is having folders and sections to keep your notes in. So they're easy to find and it's easy to add more notes to those sections. So I'm going to talk about 3 different ways that you can choose to set up your notebook. And again, it's going to be personal preference. What works for you might be completely different than what another parent uses, and that doesn't matter. What matters is that you can find that information fast and you can add new notes to it quickly. So what I found worked for me was to organize by age. Having 4 kids, it was easier for me to go through and add things to the sections and that I knew I was going to use for the other kids as they grew into those ages. The thing about adding it by age, and we'll talk a little bit more detailed about what ages I used, but is the fact that if you have a kid in school, a younger one, and they are, they're not ready for a smartphone or a cell phone yet, but you hear about a great idea that involves a cell phone, you can go to the teenage years section and you can put those notes in the teenage years section so that when you get time, when you have your plan to give your child a phone, in that section, you have the good ideas that you heard years ago that you might or might not use, but at least you didn't you keep all those good ideas so that you can decide later if it's something you want to use. It's organized, it's easy to find. So my recommendation is to do, an infant section, a toddler section, a younger school-aged kids, older school-aged kids, younger teenage years, older teenage years, and even a young adult section. And people are surprised when I say add a young adult section. But let me tell you, because I have a 29-year-old, I have older adult kids, and there are times that they have questions or need support, or they come to you. And at this age, they're making decisions on their own. But I like to say that parents at this stage of life, we're like parent consultants. So when you talk to your kids about maybe how to buy a house, or if they have a parenting question, since I'm a grandma, sometimes I get parenting questions from my daughter and her husband. And I can keep track of the advice I give or what I think is important for the other kids to know as they become adults. Things that, maybe they have questions about how to buy insurance or how we feel about, gathering as family for holidays when maybe they need to spend time with, her husband's side of the family. What are some of those systems that we can put in place to make sure that everything operates as smooth as it can? So there are some situations where I think young adults, you still need to have a few ideas and plans set for even that age. But to go back just really quickly, infant stage, toddlers, young school age, older school age, young teenage, older teenage, because there's a lot of difference in what kids can do at those different ages, what you're willing to allow them to do, what the rules should be, etc. So, and then the young adult stage. Another way, besides doing it by age, that you could set up your parenting plan would be by each child. Maybe you prefer your kids are really different personalities and you feel that you need to have a notebook or a set of notes for each child. So that can be a way that you set up your notebook or your files online, either way. And then the third way that I would suggest to people that they might want to set it up by topic. So maybe you prefer to have your notebook set by the chores that I want kids to do and what that looks like at each age. Maybe you want to teach them about finances. What does that look like at each age? And you just have a book for finance, and you just have a section for chores, and you just have a section for talking to them about sex and drugs. So you have, you do it by topic. And so that's 3 different ways that you can choose. Now, those aren't the only 3 ways. You might have a great idea. I mean, feel free to share it in the chat or in the comments for other people to check out. Maybe you have this great idea on how to set up a parenting plan that I haven't even thought of. So the most important part, again, is that you make it useful for you. It needs to be, you need to be able to find information fast and share the information with either your spouse or your family, depending on how you set that up. What works best for you? Because when you make it work best for you, you're likely to continue to use it as a tool throughout your parenting career. So once you've gotten your notebook organized, we're going to go to the next section here. The paper is sticking together for me, so give me 1 second. And parents come to me that have that I've talked to about setting up a parenting plan, or they've read the book, and they want me to give them, excuse me, an exact way on how to take notes in their notebook. You know, when you're in school, teachers teach you how to outline, excuse me, or how to highlight information in a specific way. And I don't do that. And the reason I don't do that is because it needs to work for the parent that's creating the plan. And it's not about how you take the notes, it's about the fact that you're putting down information that's important to you that you need to use. A parenting plan does not need to be a literary masterpiece. It is simply notes for you, similar to a very, you know, a prized recipe book that's been handed down from generation to generation with all the best recipes in it that, you know, grandma may have added a little extra sugar to this dessert, or something was written in the notebook, or there might even be stains because something was spilled in this cookbook. It's like that. It should be useful to you. And who knows, maybe this parenting plan that you create will be handed down to your kids when they become parents. And while they may not follow what your plan is, they'll need to create their own. They'll have a great basis and see how hard you worked to become a parent and guide them on their path. So, how do you take notes in the parenting book? That is up to you. Here's a couple of ideas for you to think about as you go to create your parenting plan. You can just simply write the notes in paragraph form or in story form, if that works for you. That's how I did it in that first notebook, and decided for me, I needed to break it down into just simpler form, like a bullet form, more of an outline, where I just had some quick notes that I could highlight and find quickly. You can also use kind of a storyboard format. This would work well if you have a family plan and you want kids to see a routine, and maybe they're younger and they aren't reading yet. So, for example, it could be about a bedtime routine. First, we're going to go upstairs and maybe brush your teeth. The next thing we're going to do is get in your pajamas. And then we're going to read a story so that they know what that routine looks like. So you could use that. I love cutting and pasting. Whether you cut and paste a great idea from the internet into your electronic files or your notes app, or you cut out an article or print an article to tape into your notebook, that saves you the time of writing it down. You cut it, you paste it, that idea is there for you to decide to use or strategize with. So, cut and paste and do things in the most efficient manner you can. As parents, we don't have a lot of time and we need shortcuts. So this is a great shortcut. Up here, I have a picture of a table setting. Again, this goes back to helping younger kids learn. If they are have the chore of setting the table every night, this saves you the time of helping them and repeating it over and over and over again on how to set the table. They can independently look at the picture in the notes and they can see how the table is supposed to be set. So, part of the hardship of parenting sometimes is the fact that we have to repeat ourselves so many times. So, if we use tools like pictures or we have a plan that kids can see and read, that saves our voice a little bit and it might save a little bit of our sanity too. So, and it makes it fun for kids. So, it goes back to let's have some fun with our kids. Parenting plans don't have to be all about rules and routines and discipline. Those things are important and those things should be in your parenting plan. But by all means, it's fun to be a parent. Kids are a blessing. And, society tells us kids are hard and it's just, I can't do it. And every day is, I just have to grind it out. Well, no, do some things to make it fun for you and the kids. Draw some silly pictures. Have things handy so that they can just look at a picture and do something and you aren't repeating yourself 1,000 times. So that's a teacher trick. I learned that as a teacher. Over here, I have a picture of a book. Books are my favorite tool. And I'm not just talking about parenting books. I will start with parenting books. However, parenting books are great tools, except I had a lot of parents when I taught school that would try to follow parenting books to every exact detail that was in the book. And a lot of times, every exact detail in that book does not leave room for your personality or your, what's going to work best for you and your family. So take the pieces out of parenting books that work for you and use those and write down the pages and keep track of what book it is so you can quickly go reference it. But leave behind the advice and the tips that really don't work for you, or maybe you don't need them. Maybe your kids are really great at doing their homework, so you don't need to have a parenting plan on how to teach your kids to get their homework done. So you only take what you need, number one. Number two, some of my favorite parenting books have been children's picture books. They not only is it a great bonding experience to read with kids, but many picture books teach such great lessons. And I would invite parents when they're reading books with their kids to stop on pages and have discussions about what choices characters are making. This could even be in chapter books if you're reading chapter books with your kids. What are the choices that the characters are making? How do they think that is going to come out in the end? Did they make a good choice? Did they not make a good choice? So a lot of picture books are great teaching tools for parents. And I would, if I was you, make sure wherever in your parenting plan, have a list of books that are your favorite for teaching kids lessons so that you can always have those as a reference as younger kids move to different ages and stages. So you can read those books with them and take the time to teach and mentor them out of children's books. Great. We never think of children's books as parenting tools, but they are some of the best parenting tools. And lastly, yesterday, I believe it was Cynthia who talked about talking to your kids about sex. I will just mention that there are some great books out there that help you do that. And I loved how she talked about making sure that it's age appropriate. And it just lines up so well with a parenting plan because you can take these books that are made for kids. And I had boys and girls, and I didn't really feel comfortable leaving these books that taught kids about puberty and body changes and sex out on the shelf for all kids to read. But I would keep these books separate. And as my kids would approach certain stages, I would have marked the pages that I wanted to specifically talk to them about. And we would use that book as I would sit down and talk to them. We wouldn't read the book cover to cover, and I wouldn't cover everything in the book all at once, but I would take a section and sit down and talk with them about what was important. Maybe they were approaching puberty and I needed to talk about how their body was going to change. So, marking those books, folding the page over, or putting the page numbers down in your parenting plan so you remember what pages those are on, and you can go back and quickly refer to those pages as you're having those talks with your kids. That is a huge time saver. It is a huge help. So, books are great. I spent too much time on that, so I'm going to move on to the next thing. But the next thing is having conversations with your kids. Now, what do you want to say to them when you talk about drugs and alcohol? What do you want to say to them about social media? What do you want to say to them about the internet and things that they could find? I have a lot of parents that come to me and they'll say, oh, we have a child protect software on our computer and on the kids' phones, and they feel like they're covered, they're safe, and they don't need to say anything to their kids. And I think we've learned through several of these talks that we've had in this conference already, that is not the case. Yes, have those child protection software on your child's phone. Absolutely. I have it on my phone. I don't want to look at those things. I don't want to come across inappropriate stuff as an adult. And I think that sets the example for my young adult kids. I don't want to be a part of that part of society. However, many parents out there do not have those child protection software things on their kids' phones or on their computers at home. So your kid will be exposed. Your kid will see things that you don't want them to see. And you need to talk with them ahead of time about that and the process they need to go through, or to come and talk to you about what they've seen. So unfortunately, we live in a world where we can only control so much. We can only control so much in our household, but when our kids go outside of the door, there is a lot going on out there. So we need to do our best parenting by talking with our kids, by taking the time to write out a conversation. And if for you, it's really hard to have a conversation about, sex or drugs or social media or what they could find on the internet, write it out. When you write it out, number one, that helps you frame how you want to talk about it. And it helps your brain kind of wrap itself around how you want to approach this, number one. Number two, if you just need to read what you wrote, that's okay too. Because then once you've read it, then you can have a discussion with your kids and they can ask you questions and you can take it from there. Having the conversation is the most important part. And I'll bet even if you read it in the beginning, as you have more kids or as you feel more comfortable having these tough conversations, you won't need to read it. You will get better and more comfortable with talking to your kids about some of these topics. And remember, it's not easy. It's not easy for any of us to have to sit and tell our kids about the crazy things that go on in this world and how to handle them. So that's what your parenting inner circle is for: support, networking, leaning on other people, asking for advice. How have they done it? Maybe they have some great tips and ideas. So that's important. Also, time. We forget in our parenting plans oftentimes about how important time is. How much time do we give a toddler to clean up their toys? And how much time do you give a teenager to clean up their room? Sometimes setting timers can be fun and help you as a parent set, I want your room picked up in, 5 minutes, or if it's really messy, 30 minutes. I don't know, whatever you need to set the timer at, but we're make a game out of it. We can use time to our advantage. We need to set up time to meet with kids. So when are you going to meet with your kids to talk about the tough talks? When are you going to take the time to teach them about their bedtime routine? Time is an important factor of holding us accountable for getting our parenting plans communicated to our kids. So just remember to keep time, how long it takes. How long is it going to take a preschooler to zip their coat and find their shoes? Give them the time they need to be successful. So that's a good one. And we're going to move on to actually strategizing and creating plans. So this is a simple one. And a lot of times the strategies and the planning is going to be done by the parents. But here's one where you could include the kids. And this would be, how are we going to, get our schoolwork and our homework in after school? And the child wants to make sure they get their snack. And, one parent is saying, well, we got to finish your homework. And the other parent is, we probably need to make sure they get outside and play. So having the conversation, how are we going to do that? What's going to come first? And so they've decided to come home and have the snack. And then we're going to work on homework for a certain amount of time. There's that timepiece again with a little timer. And then it's going to be time to go outside and play. So this is a great opportunity to include kids in decision making, but there's going to be times when it really needs to just be the parents. For me, and this doesn't mean it needs to be this way for you, but for my husband and I, it was, we are going to decide what time the kids need to be home as teenagers. We are going to decide that when they get a cell phone, we are going to have a talk and a review. And how do you navigate the internet and social media? You will turn in your phone and plug it into our room every single night until you're 18. Because I don't want my kids on the phone at night. Now, once they turn 18, they can negotiate that. And we can talk about, okay, you're moving out, so I don't have control over that anymore. You're going to college, whatever it is. But I think there are certain things that are just for the parents to decide. But there are some things like this where kids can pitch in and have their thoughts heard too, because that's a part of mentoring them and coaching them to become adults, is to have some say in the decision making. So that is all a part of making a parenting plan. And this next piece is the absolute most important. It's the worst drawing, but it's the most important piece for putting together your parenting plan. And that is to schedule check-ins as parents or as a family on how your plan is working. So first of all, you don't create all of your parenting plans in one day, all the way through till they're adults. Take time to look at the upcoming year. What ages are your kids today? What are the stages and the issues that they are going to face in this upcoming year? What worries and concerns do you have as a parent that you want to address? Then you create those plans, and then you schedule time to check in on, are those plans working? Do we need to update them? Do we need to change something about the plan that isn't working? Maybe everything's going really well, and you take some of this time to develop further out what the next stage that is coming. So I would recommend, I think it's a good idea every 3 months to check in on your plan. But if you're really struggling with something in your family, you might need to meet once a week. You might need to meet once a month. Some people decide to meet every 6 months, but do not let this appointment fall through the cracks. Do you want to meet for an hour? Do you want to meet as parents or a family for 2 hours? Whatever it is, you decide the amount of time. You decide how often you're going to do it. But when this appointment is over, don't leave without setting up the next appointment. The key is to keep this parenting plan moving. It's a constant journey. You are constantly learning. Your kids are constantly changing. So you don't want to get too far out. Of course, I let me fix what I just said there. Because if you see good ideas for 5 years down the road, yes, put those in your plan and you can perfect those plans later during one of these appointments. But your actual, plans that you're going to use day to day for the ages your kids are at, keep that at about a year to 2 year plan and keep checking in on it. Because if you stop checking in on it, then you stop creating plans, then you start going down the path of having no plan at all. And before you know it, as parents, you're giving kids two different answers when they ask questions. The chaos starts beginning. Kids don't know who to go to. They aren't, you don't have a plan then for when they ask where babies come from because you didn't continually work on this is a living document that will continue to be updated and worked on as you mature as a family. So there is that. Please, please, please don't let that part fall through the cracks. And the last piece I have, boy, the inner circle, your network of parents, the people that you are going to parent alongside with. It's so critical to be able to have other people that you get ideas and wisdom and knowledge from. And Wendy has set up such an amazing tool for parents today. Not only this conference, but the fact that you are learning together. It's so good for your kids to see that you continue to learn, that you are continuing to be the best parent you can be, the best person you can be. It is so important to be able to work together instead of competing as parents. And my child is the best at this sport, or my child is the best in school, whatever it may be. This is more important to work together. So I love to add that at the end. You can take these ideas, whether they're somebody's advice, whether it is tips, whether it is inspiration, whether it is out of a parenting book or a children's book, get them in your notes and begin your journey. So that is a lot of information to give you, but narrow it down to where you want to keep your roadmap, your parenting plan. Have categories so you can easily find your information and so that you can easily add information. Make sure that you take notes in the best way that is useful for you, whether that's pictures or just jotting down page numbers in a book or using bullet points, whatever's cutting and pasting, whatever's easy for you. Please schedule a time to touch base constantly, every 3 months or every week or every 6 months, whatever works for you. If things are running smoothly and you feel like you can go every 6 months, do every 6 months. But don't let that fall through the cracks. Continue to be thankful for your network, for your inner circle, for Wendy, and for all these amazing speakers that are giving you all these ideas for your parenting plan. So I must say I'm terrible at looking at comments and questions. So if you have any questions, I am here to do the best I can to answer about parenting plans.
Thank you so much, Christy. No worry, we'll bring the question on the screen for you to see. That was so insightful. The last thing you said about the community and all of that, I think it's huge that as our children see that we create a community to work with them, that they see that we put so much into parenting them. I think that's enough motivation for them to want to be more, for them to want to do more. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity.
And we have learned so much. I like that you kept on repeating that the parenting plan has to work for you. It has to work for your unique situation, because sometimes we get overwhelmed as parents. We're looking at every other person around us, even in the circle. We're looking at everybody in the circle and the results that they have, and we get overwhelmed like we're not doing enough. I mean, I like the part that you said you need to pick what works for you. I mean, just take what works for you per time and then put that into your plan. You can always come back and pick more later. But for now, this is what works for us, and this is what we're going to be working with. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. And yes, one step at a time. It doesn't have to be all done in one day.
Exactly. All right, so we're going to look through and see why they put their questions together. We'll take another review from the inner circle, because we need to keep preaching the importance of having a community. We need parents to know that this is very important on this journey. Right. All right. So we'll put the questions together, and after the review, we will bring the questions up so that you can answer them. Maybe 2, 3, 4 questions, and then we'll let you do. Thank you, ma'am. All right, then. All right, everyone. So get ready with your questions, please, and so that we can have them while we prepare for the next session that will be coming up in the next couple of I think in an hour or something like that. So put your questions together, please. Put your questions together and let us hear, rave about this. Let us know what you have gained, all the value that you have got, please. We will also tell you how you can reach Christine so that you can follow her on any of her social media handle. If you would like to work with her, if you'd like to get her book, right? You have a book, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Yes, if you like to get her book, oh, beautiful. So if you like to get her book or whatever else, you can follow her, and then you can let us know if you're having trouble reaching her. So put the questions together. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We're waiting for that review. All right. I'll look through in the meantime if there's any question yet while the review is coming up from the technical people. All right. Every parent needs a community, someone to hold their hands, walk through the journey. And yes, someone just said that in the comments. People are raving, Christine. People are excited. People are thankful. You can see the comments. I can see them. So they are thankful.
Good.
A lot of people are re-echoing some of the things that you said. Okay, someone said parenting plan is unique and personal.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
That's what makes it work the best.
Exactly. Another person said schedule a time to touch base. I think that was very key too. You said that. You must come back and touch base. You can't just keep flying and thinking you're getting it right.
Right. Yes. Check in on yourselves.
Exactly. All right, then let's see if there's any other. I'm looking out for comments and questions. Have a media plan, very key. Yes. Okay, I can't see any question yet. Please, if you have any question, please put them in the comments so that we can take that. Okay. All right, so I would just go ahead and ask you one question. In this part of the world, here in Nigeria and some part of Africa, sometimes we don't have. You're talking about your husband and yourself. Driving in the car, coming up with all these plans and all of that. Sometimes it's a bit difficult for us to be on the same page in this part of the world. Parents may not. Both parents may not even believe in the same idea for parenting and all that, and it becomes difficult. So when a parent finds herself, probably the mother finds herself in that situation, how do they handle? How do you handle this with your spouse?
Well, we're all different, so we aren't going to always think the same or have the be on the same page. And I think I get asked this question a lot, and I think it goes. You can take it at different levels. So if it's more of a minor thing and you feel like you can negotiate, sometimes it's give and take. Sometimes, I don't always, agree. Maybe he thinks that our kids can be out later and I don't like that. But maybe I give a little bit on that because it's, what difference is really a half an hour going to make? If it's a bigger issue and there's more struggle, that's where your community can come in and weigh in on give their advice and thoughts. And then lastly, sometimes it does, if they're bigger issues, that would be maybe when a little bit of therapy or counselor can come in and help you to negotiate and get on the same page. So kind of depends on the stage, how serious the issue is, how far apart you are, lots of things.
So the community is still very important. You can't
Yes.
do without one. Are you hearing, parents? If you're here and you don't have a community, you are not in the inner circle, then you're leaving too much on the table. That's what Dr. Christine is re-echoing all the way. Yes. You need to come into this community. There's so much you're leaving on the table. Yes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and see if there's any other comment that has come in. Oh, people are thanking you already. They said, thank you. This has been insightful.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I'm looking through. Christine, do you have any other challenge that parents usually come with you to you with that you could share with us? A common one that you have when we work with parents.
Sure. I think one of the biggest challenges is the speed at which technology changes. And so, there's some things you just can't plan for. And, there may be a new social media app or whatever it is that pops up. And so I like to remind people that when you have a parenting plan, you plan for most of the things that you can see that you're going to need to work with kids on and that you want to mentor them on. But there's still going to be things that are going to be new, that are going to pop up, or questions kids are going to have, and maybe you don't know what something means. And so always be prepared with a few kind of go-to sayings. So if a child comes to me or a teenager and they ask me about a word or something I don't know or I haven't heard yet, or a social media platform, my response is, honest, be honest. I haven't heard about that. I don't know what that means. Why don't you give me a little time to look into it and to research it? And let's touch base again tomorrow night, or let's touch base in 2 days. So be prepared to admit that society changes so fast. Technology changes so fast. There's no way that we can be on top of everything. So have a go-to statement. Admit that you don't know what something is. That's honest, genuine relationship building. And it's okay for kids to see that you aren't perfect and know everything, but let me research it. Let me look into it, and I will get back to you, and let's talk about this. So
amazing. You just talked about perfection again, not being a goal in parenting. Most of our speakers have been talking about this. You're not, as a parent, perfection is not what you're looking for. You can be vulnerable before your children. You can let them know, something. Let's touch base again tomorrow. I like the way you put that. Let's touch base again tomorrow. Then I'll have answers for you.
Yes.
All right. So there's another situation that we have sometimes. When you have parents who are not together anymore, you have like divorced, a set of parents that are divorced, and now the kids are with one parent. How do you bring your plan in as something that helps to protect the children? How do you work on a plan to protect your children?
Okay. So in a situation, and some parents, when they're divorced, some parents can get along better than other people can. And so if you do have a better relationship and are able to have a little bit of a plan between the households, of course, that would be ideal. If you are not, it's fair to say in your house, when your children are in your home as a single parent, that you have your plan. Set up a plan for how it goes in your house. I would recommend that single parents use their community, their family, the inner circle, their network of parents to help bounce ideas off of so that they have a well-rounded parenting plan. But I still think it could be different at one house, but it is your plan at your house. And it's not ideal for kids to have two different set of rules, but it's so important that I think it is so important that even if you are a single parent, that you have a plan that's followed when you're at your home.
Exactly. So you might not be able to control what happened in both homes, but at least when the child is with you, be sure that you're doing everything possible.
Yes, yes.
To help the child. Yeah. Thank you so much. So we'll just wait and see if the technical people are ready to.
Okay.
If they're not, then we'll look through. If there's no other question, then I may have to let you go.
Sure.
Sure. Okay. All right. So I'll just let me just look through again and see if there's any other question. I think it was so clear that people don't have questions to ask.
Okay. All right.
Because I can't see anyone. Okay, I have one here now. It says, if my husband doesn't believe in setting parenting plan to raise the kids, what should I do? Even though I think you've answered it, but let's just.
I believe that it helps even you as the mother. Wouldn't it be nice for you to have a plan of how you're going to talk to your kids about sex, ready to go, or read the books with your kids? It'll be relationship building for you. If your spouse is not necessarily on board, it doesn't mean that he won't. Sometimes it means that the dad just kind of goes along with what the mom says too. So I think having plans and having preparation, no matter what the situation, even if it's one parent, I think is a huge, huge help to parents. So have a plan anyway, create your notes, and he may come around and say, oh, I see that worked. And then he may want to participate. So you might pull him in that way.
Yeah, I think it works over and over again when you do that, because sometimes it's not about the word match and having all the conflicts and all that. Sometimes it's just step aside and then do the work. The work will always speak, isn't it?
Yes.
So when the work speaks, at some point you will have a convert without even realizing it. He would just fall, into the whole, business with you. Thank you so much. I'll look again and see if there's any other question while we wait. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Everybody's saying thank you. Someone said, I so love your teaching, Christine.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's so fun today. We have to have fun as parents too, don't we? It's hard to be a parent. So this is fun for me. I'm passionate about sharing this with people. And it's absolutely an honor and my pleasure to be here.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, I'm looking. Okay. Okay, evaluation. Take a piece of your parenting book. Okay, I can't see any other thing. We'll just give Coach Wendy a minute. I think she will be up here in a minute. And then, okay, someone said, okay, she's right here. Hello, Coach Wendy.
Hi, Christine, and thank you again for that session. It was straightforward. Yes, straightforward. Just head up there. Nothing so ambiguous. Thank you so much for that simple, straight to the point session. I think it's one session that parents will need to, go back again and again to actually take notes from and look at how they can build the system. One of the things that we usually say in the inner circle is that parenting is not a journey of perfection, it's a journey of process. So once you key into the process, you are going to get a result. And I heard you say today that it's about the plan and not about perfection. It was just so apt. For me, that was a huge takeaway, because a lot of the times parents are looking for how they are going to look at perfect system, but there's really no perfect system, really. It's all about the plan that we have in front of us. And I like the way that you sectioned it in years, the things that you don't need in 10 years. Because I hear people say things like, oh, but I'm a mom of toddlers. Oh, what we're sharing here is for teenagers. Pick it and put it at the teenage age. When you get there, you can review. I love the way that Christine explained it. Oh, my children are not this age yet. Pick it and put it somewhere. When it's time, you go and bring out the plan and then you review it again. Thank you so much. I don't think Mary Beth, are there still questions in the comment section?
Yeah, there are no more questions, ma'am.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you so much. So Faithful says, join the inner circle, a community that helps you when you are overwhelmed. Yes, 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 and that is it. Thank you again and again, Christine. We're going to let you go. We've taken 11 minutes of your time, and we are having another session at exactly 4:30. You want to be there. We're having Uncle Sele from Nigeria teaching us on how to raise children who have values. Thank you, Christine. We don't take this for granted. We love your time. And thank you, Mary Beth, again and again and again. I'm sure Mary Beth enjoyed this session. Mary Beth is a mentor mom, and she's very big on plans, very, very big on it. So, hey, thank you so much for being here to all our audience. See you again at 4:30. And remember that it is what you put in that you get at the end of the day. All right. And I'm going to leave us with the last review from the inner circle as we begin to round up. But before then, also remember that you need to send this video to somebody, somewhere. Someone reached out to me today and said, somebody sent me this video and I watched it through the night. I wept while I was going through the whole conference. I didn't sleep. You will be saving a life by sharing this with your family and friends. Thank you again. Did you get value from this session? Let me see your comment in the comment section. If you got value from this session, let me see the fire emojis, and remember to hit the like button on our YouTube channel. Let me see the fire emojis right in the comment section. Thank you so much, Mary Beth, and see you later in the day. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. See you again at 4:30 as we begin the next session.
Hello, my name is Susu Itwen. I am a mom of 2 children, 2 amazing toddlers. I'm also a gender and development professional trained in the UK. I actually live in the UK, and I'm an entrepreneur. So I'm here to share my experience with you so far in the Inner Circle. I joined the Inner Circle March 2021 after so many reviews and testimonies on the tip page on Facebook. So I thought to myself, I've been following this page for a while now. I've attended the conferences they've done. I've learned so much. I've followed up the Tuesday podcast, live videos. And I thought there has to be something else. There has to be a better way of accountability and walking through this journey. So I joined in March. And since then, it's been mind-blowing. Like, it's been hectic, but it's been mind-blowing. Okay, the thing that I want to highlight today is the atmosphere in the Inner Circle. That has been the top for me. The atmosphere is just something else where you come into the room, there is a good vibes, positive vibes. There is something to learn all the time. People are sharing their experiences, and you just really, and you look like yourself. I'm not alone. Okay, so it's so much fun. We are learning a lot. We are reading books and learning from the experiences of others who have walked through this journey. Atmosphere is key for you in your parenting journey. Why? Because the society has a lot of information that you don't even need for your journey. There's a lot of myths and error information, put it that way, that are out there. So you need to position yourself in the right atmosphere, in the right direction of what you want to achieve. Okay, so that is why I prefer inner circle to anything else happening around, you know, my parenting journey, because I get to see other people, learn from them, and draw strength. You can't do this alone. It can be very tough. I've had frustrating moments parenting, but I realize that I need people, and Coach Wendy has amazingly done that in the inner circle. So I give it up to all the yadas. You are doing amazingly well. Now, if you're interested, or perhaps you're wondering, I don't have time. For me, I really wanted a lot of time. Like, I don't have time to do this. But I realize that we make out time for what is important to us. And the gift of children are the greatest gifts anyone can think of to nurture. So I urge you to create time and join us. And perhaps you think, okay, you have had it all. You've had all the experience, 20 years experience. There's nothing to correct. Oh my God. You can still be a grandma. You can still be a grandpa. You can still nurture children around you in the society as a teacher. So I urge you to join us. It's fun. We are learning. We are being refueled daily, because this journey can be very tough. Okay, I'll stop here. Thank you so much, Mom, for the opportunity and for all you do for us. Have a good day and see you in the inner circle.